The power of imagination. What is imagination? Imagination. Welcome to the MK Media. This is the home of love, wisdom, and education. Imagination. The power of imagination. What is imagination? Imagination is what to be. What if I tell you that imagination is the source of everything, starting from nature to what is man-made? For me, God is the greatest imaginator. They tend to say that the sky is the limit, but for me, I tell you that sky is not the limit. Your potential will determine your limitations, and your imagination will determine your potential. They say that a journey of 1,000,000 miles start with one step, but for me, I tell you that a journey of 1,000,000 miles starts in your mind. The power of imagination. Imagination is the source of everything. Talk about the creative industry, the entertainment industry. Talk about movies, music, all the script writers. The source is imagination. What they imagine is what they write, and what they write is what they act. Talk about technology, flights, phones, vehicles, laptops. All those are as a result of imagination. Imagination is the biggest and the main problem solver in our society. The power of imagination. Imagination makes the biggest difference between the wealth, the rich, and poor. People are rich and poor in different ways. Some are rich in mind, but poor in pocket and poor in materials. Others are rich in pocket, but poor in mind and poor in materials, while others are rich in materials, but poor in mind and poor in their pocket. While we have people who are complete, who are rich in mind, rich in pocket, and rich in materials. But the best thing is to be rich in your mind, because you can use your mind to make money and use both your mind and money to be wealthy. The power of imagination. What if I tell you that today your biggest enemy is lack of imagination? Your biggest enemy is the negative thoughts which you have towards yourself. The power of imagination. Let's look the difference between the poor, the rich, and wealth in our society. The difference is made by imagination. The manner in which each level people tend to imagine differently. Let's look at the production sector. The poor people tend to consume the final production of imaginators. The rich people tend to distribute knowledge and products from the wealthy to the poor people, while the wealthy people tend to produce as other people distribute and consume. So the question is, what do you produce? What do you distribute? And what do you consume? What are you, a producer, a distributor, or are you a consumer? Because reality is, poor people consume, rich people distribute, and wealthy people produce. The power of imagination. The question is, do you imagine? And what do you imagine? Even for me, whatever I'm doing today is as a result of imagination. The final question is imagination enough to make one rich or wealthy? I'm here to tell you the truth. Imagination is not enough to make you wealthy. You need to put into practice whatever you imagine. Without practice, imagination has no results. So many people imagine, but the failure to put whatever they imagine into practice, it results to a failure. And you will die with your dream, with your vision, with your imagination. For you to be rich or wealthy in this society, you need to imagine and put whatever you imagine into practice. Failure to do that, you end up being poor. Because whatever others produce and distribute is whatever you will be consuming. So avoid mind enslavement. You can make it if you imagine and put whatever you imagine into practice.